Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Let's just dive right in today. We're unpacking some incredibly fascinating insights from Matthew Albert's book, The Gen A Manufacturing Revolution. But look, we're not going to sit here and talk about programming code or server specs. No way. We're focusing on something way more crucial. Something that, frankly, a lot of companies completely forget about: people. Specifically, we're zooming in on Chapter 5 to figure out why building an AI-first culture in enterprise and manufacturing absolutely demands that we put people before technology. So get ready, because this material is going to completely shift how you view digital transformation. So why do so many AI initiatives just crash and burn? It's the million-dollar question, right? Well, this book highlights a pretty shocking reality. You can go out and buy the most advanced software in the world, you can hire the absolute best algorithm experts, but honestly, even the smartest AI is completely useless if your workforce is terrified of it or if your teams are just stuck working in their own little silos. AI implementations don't fail because the tech is bad. They fail because the culture rejects the tech. Here is our roadmap for today. First, why culture is more important than technology. Second, the 4 pillars of an AI-first culture. Third, overcoming resistance through communication. Fourth, building trust and literacy. Fifth, the role of leaders in setting the example. And sixth, AI as a human enabler.
All right, part 1. Culture is more important than technology.
This is the real crux of the issue. On one hand, you have this purely technology-focused approach. This is where companies throw massive budgets at buying the newest, shiniest tools, assuming that alone guarantees success. But on the flip side, we have the culture-focused approach. And the reality is, a fearful, toxic, or change-resistant culture is going to quickly reject even the most advanced tech. Culture is literally the glue between your strategy and your execution. Without that supportive culture, your shiny new AI initiative just becomes another abandoned, incredibly expensive IT project. Think about implementing AI like building a massive physical factory. You wouldn't just bring in a bunch of heavy, highly sophisticated machinery before you've poured a rock-solid concrete foundation, right? Well, in the digital world, culture is that concrete foundation. You absolutely have to prepare the people, their mindsets, and the whole work environment first before those giant algorithmic machines can actually operate optimally. Moving right along to Section 2, the 4 pillars of an AI-first culture. I love this framework because it's built just like a stack of Lego blocks. Think about how every single piece relies on the others. At the very bottom, acting as this totally unshakable base, you have leadership commitment. Stacked right on top of that, you build an innovation mindset, then cross-functional collaboration, and then AI literacy. It all builds up to ethics and governance at the peak. If you just pull out that bottom block, the whole AI initiative collapses. It's not a coincidence. It's a super carefully designed structure. Let's make this super actionable. Taking this straight from the source material, we can map very real organizational challenges to their exact pillar solutions. Say your employees are resisting out of fear. The solution there is transparent communication. What if your IT and production teams aren't talking, acting like totally separate silos? You need a cross-functional task force. If your people don't trust the AI's output, you've got to involve them in testing with explainable AI. And if they just plain don't know how to use it, you provide role-specific training. It's incredibly logical when you break it down like this.
Which brings us to Section 3, overcoming resistance through communication.
Okay, if you remember nothing else, remember this: AI is an enabler, not a disruptor. The fear of job loss is totally real, and honestly, deep empathy is required here. Leaders have to communicate directly and transparently with their teams. They need to frame AI as a tool, kind of like a really advanced calculator, that's designed to automate the boring, repetitive tasks. The actual goal? Freeing up employees' time so they can focus on high-level problem-solving and much more meaningful work. Section 4. Building trust and literacy. Psychological safety. This is an absolutely huge concept. If you want your team to adopt entirely new AI tools, they have to feel safe messing up while they learn. Like we touched on earlier, nothing grows in toxic soil. If every single time an employee tries a new AI feature and fails, they get reprimanded, well, guess what happens? They just stop trying altogether. Safe experimentation is literally the heartbeat of AI adoption. So how do we actually build that literacy on the ground? It comes down to 3 tactical steps. First, provide role-specific training. Your factory workers don't need a masterclass in coding complex algorithms. They just need to know how to read a predictive maintenance dashboard. Second, establish solid feedback loops so people can easily raise concerns or offer suggestions about the tools. And third, recognize and reward. Celebrate those small wins. That is how you embed AI literacy right into the everyday DNA of your company.
Next up, Section 5, the role of leaders in setting the example.
Listen to this really powerful quote from the book, "An AI-first strategy is not just about technology. It is about people." Leadership can't just hand down a mandate from the top, buy some expensive software, and then just walk away. They have to actively champion the people who are actually operating that technology. If leaders don't genuinely care about their employees' adaptation process, the AI initiative is basically dead before it even starts. So, how exactly do executives and managers prove they have an AI-first mindset? They have to walk the walk. Imagine a CEO opening a massive meeting by pulling up a data dashboard processed by AI, or using generative AI to summarize their meeting notes to send out to the team. They create those cross-functional task forces, and they visibly celebrate the AI team's victories. When leaders actually prove that AI improves their own workflows from the top down, the employees are naturally going to follow suit. And finally, Section 6, AI as a human enabler.
Algorithms can be bought by your competitors, right? Software can just be copied. But human-AI synergy? No way. You cannot buy that. An adaptable, highly literate workforce that is ready to work side by side with AI without fear, that is your ultimate asset. That is the true competitive advantage for the future of manufacturing and honestly, for pretty much any business out there.
Well, we've reached the end of the material, and I want to leave you with one really provocative thought to chew on. As your company invests in all this digital transformation, are you just busy building an AI factory full of cold machines, or are you building an AI-ready workforce? Because the answer to that question is absolutely going to dictate the future success or failure of your entire organization. Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Never stop learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.